So I had that tweet that Donald Trump pinned on Twitter for a long time, where it was like the Rittenhouse thing like helped convince me to vote for Trump, and that's like the left views it as like it's proof of being far right or whatever. It's crazy though, because this story with Rittenhouse shows you that left and right are meaningless, other than you either are an idiot who believes fake BS or you care about facts. Destiny, for instance, leftist streamer, was like the clearest case of self-defense I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I saw
And then,
fantastic.
his argument with Vosh said, in the Marvel movies, good guys put their guns down. It's like,
What?
Yeah, but that's
no, they don't.
and
Like,
that's totally fake. And it was so
Marvel movie.
horrific. I mean, it was such an abomination when they changed Star Wars, for example, and made it so that Han didn't shoot first. That was the stupidest thing ever. Obviously, what makes him a good character is that he's conflicted. Is that he?
I don't think he was conflicted. He was like, I'm going to shoot this man.
He does bad things, right? There's like so.
Well, he was kind of a scoundrel.
Yes,
Exactly.
which is a good thing about him, and that's the only. I mean, would Leah have fallen for the good guy?
No
she
way.
falls
Well,
for
she
the scoundrel
kissed her brother.
with dirty hands.
Okay, that's
That was
Yeah,
a
but
little
that was
weird
for
of her,
luck.
I would
That
say.
was really
a little
just
bit
for
strange.
luck.
Oh,
So-
it's just for luck. Okay.
You know, the funny thing about the Star Wars when she kissed her brother is that they have the Force, right? They have like strong in the Force, so they had to have known. You know, when
That's
Does the
weird.
Force
Why,
tell you that?
why
Yeah.
wasn't it like with magnets?
It
You know, where
is
they're like,
like they're
No, hold on,
repelling
like-
each other. Yeah.
No, when he's like Vader's here already, he can sense my presence or whatever. And then when Vader's like, search your feelings or whatever, you know,
about whether
to-
he's your father.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Of course.
So there's no way.
But maybe it's not. Maybe it's only if you're looking for it. You know, if you're into somebody, you don't stop to think. I need to search the Force for whether this is my sister.
Yeah,
You have
of
to
course
assume
they
it's
have
not
that-
going to be your sister.
No, they have that app in Iceland.
Yeah, they
where
do. So you don't date your
Yeah,
cousin.
No, really?
Yeah. There's
hilarious.
an app in Iceland where you can look up if the person you're dating is actually your cousin.
Very small
Wow.
gene pool up there.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
can see that being repurposed for a kink.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I
no.
hope not. Well, and back to Kyle Rittenhouse. No.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
Well, it's insane too, because this is another reason why it's so dangerous to have a dialogue surrounding guns in a country where a large majority of the citizens have never handled a gun, and most of the people on the other side of the gun debate have never seen one in person, I think, oftentimes. Because
Can you turn the volume
people
up?
don't realize the unbelievable discipline which was required for Kyle to literally only hit his targets. Like, he is in an urban environment being chased down by a mob, and he only hit the people who are trying to attack him. People think that weapons function as they do in the films, where anyone can just hit whatever target they want to
Right,
shoot.
yeah, that's not easy.
It's not easy.
Dude,
and
it's-
it's most, and this is
super hard.
one thing that anyone who knows anything about firearms will tell you when people ask, like, why would you need 30 rounds? Why would you need a 15-round magazine and a handgun? Well, the reason is because most of the time, you're not going to hit your target, especially if you don't train very often, especially if you're an average person, you're not in the military or something, someone who's been tactically trained or shoots every day. You're probably going to miss a good amount. And also, it can take more than one bullet to take a person down. So the fact that this kid was able to, with precision, hit only the people who are trying to hurt him when he was being chased down by an entire mob of people is a
adults. He
testament
was being
of
chased by a mob of
adults.
adults.
Of
Right.
adults is a testament to how responsible he was. He wasn't just out there shooting his gun out like a maniac. He only hit people who were a direct threat to his life, even though an entire mob was chasing him down.
Well, that's why. So the judge said you can call them rioters, looters, and arsonists, but
Yeah.
not victims.
Right.
The amount of misinformation in this story, it's mind-boggling. It's infuriating because I expect it when it comes to politics.
Yeah.
But this is so crazy, man. Go on Twitter and look at like what these progressive TikTokers are saying about it. And they're like a white supremacist mass murderer who took a gun and crossed state lines. It's like none of it is true.
None of it's true. None of
the
it's
other
true.
thing too is shortly after that, I think it was in September of 2020, the Biden campaign came out with an ad where they called Rittenhouse a white nationalist.
A
And they
white
called-
nationalist?
Yeah.
They could just say that about anybody.
Biden called him that. Biden said that in a campaign ad. And
Wow.
the family came out and said, we're going to sue you. I don't know what happened with that. But when you have the man who becomes president making up lies to win political elections,
Lies about a teenager.
lies about
to
a
try
teenager
to damage their reputation.
who was trying to protect his community.
Yeah, and himself. Well, and it's funny too. One of the most obvious tells from the get-go that this was not the kind of mass shooting situation the left was trying to make it out to be, is people on the left were actually referring to gun laws that they thought were broken. in. Every single time a shooting occurs, they pretend that there were no laws in place to prevent it, because then they have to acknowledge the fact that whatever new laws are put into place are just going to be disobeyed by any psychopath who wants to murder people anyway. And so with Rittenhouse, they're saying he traveled to a different state with a gun, which is illegal. First of all, that's not even true. But if it was, if you really think someone's a mass murderer, you're not all that concerned with the regulations they broke transporting their gun.
It's all they got.
Exactly. It's all they had.
This is
that's a good point.
It's crazy. Like, man, it's been getting bad. You know, I know. I go Civil War and all that stuff, but I'm like, dude, it is really bad. So I follow a bunch of progressive YouTubers and stuff. And just to see the amount of fake news they peddle, I realized something today, because like a lot of them I watch, they don't have sources, or they'll use broken sources. They won't seek out. They'll find a source that has the information they prefer,
of course,
and then they'll show that as their source, like Slate.com and Huffington Post. And I use CNN as often as I can. I do use Daily Mail fairly often, but I try to use CNN. I try to use CBS. I try to use NBC. And then I'm always fact checking and trying to be like, whenever I'm looking at a story, I'll try and find like 4 different versions of the same story and then go through them and see what their source is to make sure that they're not doing closed loop sourcing.
I think that makes a lot of sense to do it that way, because otherwise you're just not sure who's reporting off of what and where they got their information.
So if I can verify something, I choose to use CNN because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and use their own sources against them, 100%.
Well, if CNN gets it right, they deserve to be used as a source.
Also true. On those rare occasions.
And more importantly, when they're like, Tim Pool made up this story about Rittenhouse, like that's the New York Times.
Yeah, you can literally.
So I tweeted, the people were tweeting about the Alec Baldwin thing, and they were like, you know, Alec Baldwin did nothing wrong, and they said Kyle Rittenhouse should go to prison. And then I said Alec Baldwin was a producer on the film who was handed a loaded weapon, didn't check, pointed at a woman, and pulled the trigger. Kyle Rittenhouse was defending a bunch of businesses from rioters who fled after being attacked, trying to put out a fire out as they were pushing it towards a gas station, and only fired when fired upon. And I get these leftists like, that never happened. No one fired at him. And I'm like, the New York Times reported that.
The New York Times
reported
that.
So I pull up the New York Times. I show the photo where it shows the circle. It says muzzle flash. And then I paste it. And I'm like, there's the image. Here's the link. And they're like, oh, please. If you go frame by frame, you can make anything up.
And there were journalists on the ground covering that stuff.
We've had them all here.
Yeah, and we were all watching that. It was it was so clear.
Dude,
there was great coverage of that.
Yeah,
people made a good point the other day. If Rittenhouse gets convicted, there'll be riots. If he's acquitted, there'll be riots. And it's not going to be from the right.
Of course.
Like the left is going to riot no matter what. Because if they do convict him, he's not going to get the worst possible charges, probably. I mean, for a while, I was saying life. But after seeing this judge,
I like this judge.
I don't think so.
Well, yeah, exactly. Here's the thing. Part of why this is such an important battle for them is because they want people to be terrified of the mob, and they want you to know that if you defend yourself, you're going to be punished for it.
Yep.
And so if this kid goes down simply for defending himself, the message that sends to the American public is, if there are people in your community burning down businesses and attacking innocent people, you mind your business. Or if you're the person who they want to kill, you let them kill you.
Right.
Because if you don't, we'll destroy your life anyway. So the thing about Rittenhouse really is that if he hadn't defended himself, if he had allowed the mob to kill him, as 33 people were killed this past summer, none of us would know his name.
Right.
But because he defended himself, he's front page news.
We would know his name.
We might, but the average person, we wouldn't be talking about it. If the people who killed him, when their trial date came up, that wouldn't be a news story. They wouldn't be pushing it as hard as they're pushing the Rittenhouse story. The media wouldn't be talking about
it.
They're
also pushing the Arbery story, the Ahmaud Arbery story, the young man who was killed in Georgia by, who's a black man killed in Georgia by 3 white guys in a pickup truck.
He was jogging. He was jogging he was jogging inside a house that was under construction.
He was jogging inside a house under construction.
Yeah,
so that was
in
another
boots,
sort of like
what
in boots, right?
Was he wearing
a double
boots?
check? I need to double check on this. I
think he was wearing boots.
But the mob has to use might because they have no moral authority at all, and so they have to use shame and all of those things. That's the only way that they have power.
There's an occupying force in our culture and government that represents a fringe faction of ideologies, and it's because of the cowardice of so many people that they're able to get away with what they do.
Exactly, and these mobs are their militant wing.
I have to say, I'm so intrigued by this judge
by him saying this before the trial even gets underway, what is he thinking? What is he trying to convey? Because he's being surprisingly based, which is kind of
you know what he said?
right?
He said that if the defense could back up their claims that these were arsonists, rioters, and looters, then they could for sure call them that. They just have to back it up, which I think is pretty possible to do. They were literally trying to set a gas station on fire that night in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
The prosecutor argued they were just trying to obstruct a road with a flaming dumpster, and the judge is like,
If that's okay.
yeah, the judge goes, he's like, excuse me, it's just arson? Come on. As if there's a zone where that's acceptable. And they were like, well, you know, he wasn't.
Yeah.
This is what we have to look forward to.
Well, there was another man, too, who I don't think it was in Kenosha. We reported on it at Post Millennial. Mia Cathell wrote about it at length. There was a man who was defending his shop and his elderly father against a mob of looters. And this man shot one of the looters who was trying to break into the shop. He was then condemned, vilified, mobbed online, all of that stuff for being a racist because the man he shot was black. He was defending his shop against these people. And he later killed himself.
Whoa.
Oh, my.
Because it was so traumatizing and horrible.
There's
nobody says his name. And I can't even remember his name, which is horrible.
There's a story out of Philly that never got really big play at all because there was no interest from anybody to cover it. But during the height of the riots, there was a local gun store I used to go to, and the guy told me, this is crazy. He told me that they got a warning from the ATF that people were going to try and loot gun stores during the riots.
Right.
Later on, I heard a news story that 3 guys tried breaking into a Philly gun store, and I think one of them was shot and killed, and like someone may have been injured. I can't remember. But I put 2 and 2 together. I was like, whoa.
I remember.
So what happened was the guy was sleeping in his gun shop.
That's right.
ATF probably called him, told him, because the other gun shop told me he was also sleeping in his store.
Right.
And then he's sitting there armed, and someone breaks in, and bam.
Jeez.
No one.
That's a way to save lives, is to prevent people from stealing your guns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
no 2A person thought it was going to be a good story, probably, to be like, hey, look what happened. And the left certainly didn't want to say, hey, the Black Lives Matter people are trying to steal guns now.
Oh, gosh.
Right.
There is that video, though, where they break into a gun store and then just start taking everything. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that.
Dude, it was crazy last year. Can you believe it's been almost 2 years since we've been we've been living under fascism?
No, I didn't realize. I had no idea.
That's crazy, right?
When would you say the fascism started?
The lockdowns.
March 13th, 2020?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
been.
it? The date?
That was-
So
Yeah.
we're about a year and a half in.
That's when New York City's school closed. Schools closed.
Wow.
Which
And
I
then
remember distinctly because I had pulled my son out of school because there were lice.
Oh, nice.
It wasn't the COVID that did it.
Classy.
It was the lice.
Gross.
And then I was like, I'm not having lockdown with the lice. This
Yep,
is
that's not going to work for
not-
me.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Now, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.